and welcome to the very first episode of Between the Roles. This podcast is about exploring the many roles we carry through life, as sons, daughters, dads, mums, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, partners, mates, colleagues, and sometimes the roles we don't even realise we're playing until we stop and think about it. My name's Michael Blown. I'm a counsellor and hypnotherapist who specialises in men's mental health and identity. In my work, I've seen how much pressure men can feel in their different roles, and how rarely we get the chance to actually talk about them openly. That's why I wanted to create this space, for honest conversations, not polished answers, because most of us are figuring it out as we go. And a lot of the time, it's the in-between moments and the space between the roles where we actually learn the most about who we are. For this first series, we're focusing specifically on men, looking at how different roles shape identity, mental health and relationships. I brought a few friends along with me for this first series. Some of us are dads, some of us aren't, but we all carry roles that affect how we show up in life. So this is just the beginning, and I'm really excited to see where these conversations take us. So let's get into it. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
It's going to be a bit weird, isn't it?
Not really.
So all I wanted to do is first off, I've kind of introduced myself in the intro, but I might do it again at some point. But if we just go around and just say who you are, I guess, and whatever, I don't know.
Well,
This is new to me.
Any
just
little
say-
information,
yeah.
like job or like
Yeah, job. You can do
parent,
your job, parent.
kid?
Yeah. A little bit about you. Let's go with you then, Rob.
Oh fuck. My name's Luke. So you want me to go first?
Yeah.
You started it, so
I didn't want to ask questions.
I'll tell
You
you
don't
what.
have to.
I'll tell you what. I'll go first.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
Just for you.
Alright, okay.
So this is the voice of Richard. Richard is very chilled, non-parent, dog father,
The dog father.
39, has a wife,
39.
39 years old. Yeah,
No
thank
one's
you.
met your wife yet.
No one has met my wife yet. I do live in a house, and it's a wonderful life. So yeah.
Nice.
Might as well go around in a circle.
Go around
Leave
in a
Rob last now.
Got time to think about it.
So yeah, this is the voice of Luke, and I am 35 next week. So yeah, 35 soon, and father of one. I live in a house. And yeah, that is. Though I've essentially put that down as me.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Rob, father of twins, and yeah, feeling old.
Twins rule.
Twins are old.
So I basically wanted this podcast to be about not just men, because obviously we're all very, very manly men in here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like what
Yes.
I'm interested in the work that I do is also the roles that we play as people. I feel like, sometimes, I think we all, speaking to all of you individually, we all have that like imposter syndrome kind of feeling sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know I feel like I'm making things up as I go along sometimes, not in my job, but
Well, I feel it in my job too.
feel it in my job, feel it as a dad, feel it as just a person, a husband or whatever really. So I guess my first question to put it out there to you three is, what comes to your minds when I say the word roles and what roles you kind of play?
I suppose my first one is just thinking being like the husband and being like father kind of thing. Is immediately it straight away. My whole life is based around that first in a way. So I suppose that's what immediately comes straight to the forefront of my mind.
Yeah. How, that's a sound of a really counsel-y sort of question, but how does that feel, those two?
I mean, I love my kids and they are right pain. But it feels really good. Like, I think that's kind of my life is those two things mainly, kind of thing. But if I'm happy that those are my two things. Like, I'm very happily married, love my kids a lot. So it's not a bad thing, kind of thing. And I'm definitely happy that that's where my mind goes to first.
Anyways.
Obviously, being a parent, yeah, I would mirror all of that. But we are quite lucky and we have a good friendship group,
Yeah.
good family group as a general. So when you say roles, I almost want to always put role model on it.
Okay.
Because like when we're out together and stuff, I always think kind of what are the kids picking up from us? How are we interacting with each other? That the children are going to pick up on, whether it be my nephew, niece, my extended family, or even just how my friend's going to pick up on that as we've briefly mentioned previously. We all go through like struggles, either at work or imposter syndrome and stuff like that. Is there any way that I can project myself that might mean that they are willing to talk?
Yeah.
We are, as a group of friends, we're in a great position where we all trust each other. And I think that's all built around how we have set ourselves as role models to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's kind of extended out to kids and family members and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of adding on top of really what Rob has said around family. I think I'd almost add a layer of kind of the friendship side to it.
Mm. Saying role models, does that kind of bring any extra pressure?
Definitely.
In what way?
Yeah. I think I set myself. What's the right word? What's the right and wrong word to say? I put myself sometimes on a pedestal that I don't need to, rather than just kind of chilling and being in the moment.
You set that bar too high for you. The expectation of yourself, because of an outward projection,
exactly,
is much higher than, say, what Rob looks at you or what I would look at you.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You don't need to do that, dude.
And no, it is, and I think when we are just chatting and chilling and stuff, it becomes quite relaxed. But sometimes I feel that I have to almost, especially at work. Do you know what I mean? I have to be a certain person, be a certain presence in Stephen's life or my wife's life. And yeah, I think it comes down to it's setting that bar too high sometimes, and I just have to kind of understand that it doesn't always have to be there. Sometimes you can fail because it's not failure; you're just learning.
I do think you got to sometimes recognise that it works though, because I think, say like my kids absolutely adore you. I mean, you've read a bedtime story to Mike's kid tonight who wanted you to do it. Like, I consider you someone that's always present. So whilst you're setting yourself out like, oh, I've got a lot to achieve, I don't always have to achieve it. I think sometimes you've got to pat yourself on the back as well though, because when my kids come around your house, you will go out and play with them. You will come and hang out with us as well, but you push yourself, well not push yourself, but you go and do those things, and then the people around you feel it, and then feel your presence. I think as much as it's hard work, I see in my kids how much they love you.
Yeah,
it works. It's not benefits in a way, but
I think it's really because it's really interesting because like going around both your houses, I spend a lot of time with your kids, but I see them as an extension of you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if I spend that time with them, without sounding too kind of soppy, like I'm spending time with you, but those kids are extensions of you, and I want them to kind of see the relationships that we have. I consider myself very lucky to have friends as close as the three of you, and I kind of want to like you were saying about modelling that, and like to them, I want them to grow up wanting friendships like we've got, and I know I consider myself very lucky having you guys. But I want to come on to you, Rich, because you don't have kids. You're the dog father.
The dog father. Yeah.
So I think how different is that kind of take for you? I guess how does that feel? Us talking about that.
I always like listening to parents talk because I just think it kind of. There's never been a yearning. I've never wanted that. If we're gonna put it role in my life, it's just not it's not been on the radar, and I admire each and every one of you for doing it. You know, you've all got a different story about how you become parents, what you've gone through.
Well, we've got the same story, but
yeah, I mean, obviously, you know.
He's still learning. The only reason why he's not got a kid.
39 and I'm still not quite sure what to do. Honestly. But yeah, I just like listening and I like watching, which sounds a bit weird, but
no, observing.
I think, yeah, and I kind of think from like, if you were going to say a role I would have in people's lives, because we don't have our own kids, is that uncle role. And there's, I think, kind of you all are uncles to each other's kids.
Yeah.
But it's a slightly different uncle role to what like someone without a pet, without kids has got.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't got kids, you're that fun uncle. And it's just such a different dynamic. You always have to, like you say, putting yourself on that pedestal and having that different outlook. You have to be the fun one. You have to be the. You can't have an uncle on an off day, for example. You know.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you know you got your kids around and it's like, okay, well Uncle Luke can be a bit quiet today because that's fine. Uncle Mike will fill it. Like if you're the uncle that's not got the kids and everyone's at your house, you're like, okay, no, I've got to be 100 mile an hour and that's knackering. I don't know how you boys do it, to be honest. So
does that feel like, is it a have to, or is it more of a want to, or a need to?
Getting older, I think it's more of a have to.
Okay.
But I just think that's just the stage of my life. Like again, we spoke about our ages. You know, 40 isn't old.
Very young, mate, though.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to doing it, yeah.
But it sounds weird, like my next role in life is going to be retirement, you know. And I kind of think, I haven't got that. Well, my next role in giving my daughters away on their wedding day, or, you know, going on my son's stag do. Like, you've all got that kind of real big bit, whereas I think kind of the role of someone who's actively chosen, or, you know, the situation we've got, you kind of just go, well, there's a lot of gap to fill. So,
do you think being that fun uncle, there's a side...
There'd be an argument to that, but
yeah. You've got an advantage over some dads, some kind of uncles, whatever, where you can build that trust. So if your nephew or niece wants to come to you, they feel safe to come to you because you're that fun uncle, and you can kind of level down.
Yeah.
Or do you find sometimes you've got that separation? I know that your nieces are a lot younger at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's a difficult one, because I think, like you say, where they're so young, the stupid one with the sweets will always be the fun one. You know, the one with the fun, like, toys on the wall in his bedroom. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just for clarity, pop vinyls, nothing else. Not got some weird bedroom, but
they're like Buzz or Woody figures.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And Jess and
Buzz Woody, very good.
I call it Woody anyway.
Yeah, I think there's a clear sort of difference, if you know, like you were saying. Yeah, there is a big difference, and I think I could talk to my nephew about having girlfriends and stuff and this, that and the other, and I think, or boyfriends, I don't know, you know, he's not quite open about that yet, but I think, yes, growing up, I will be afforded the luxury of, I'll be the one they come to if they want to go and get absolutely hammered.
So while the adults are having a sensible conversation at the end of the meal, you're going to be on the kids' table.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and you know what?
I think I'm like that sometimes though. I think I'm here to like hearing similar things in what I do. Like sometimes that adult chat, I don't want to go do that adult chat. I'd rather go muck around and play kind of thing.
And that's the thing, like that. So as another role, so like in a professional sense, if you don't have kids, like you are supposed to be that mature one, and like, oh well, you know, You don't have to play with the kids. You don't have to be childish.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I love dicking about and just having fun.
Yeah.
So although there's that fun uncle label role, there's an horrible flip side to like we grow up. You know, you're supposed to be an adult type situation. So my dad's birthday, I was at the kids' table, and that's not an exaggeration. I was literally down with all the kids because it's, you know, that's where my comfortable zone was.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of it can be a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I get
You know,
that.
it's.
I think kids are sometimes that not easier to talk to.
They are.
But it doesn't matter in a way sometimes. Like you can not talk, or you can just sit there and chat about literally what colours on the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that's easier because you haven't got to pretend, you haven't got to try hard. You can just be what they need.
Yeah. And I look around the room and I know we've all got, I think rightly or wrongly, we've all got really challenging jobs. And I kind of think from a professional role, we all have to be really sort of into it, and I envy you guys a little bit because you get to take that hat off and be daft with your kids.
Yeah.
Whereas, not that I don't, but you're kind of seen two-dimensional if you don't have kids. If you're not that role of a parent.
You've got a reason to take the hat off.
Yeah, whereas
you've not got a reason. Sometimes that stays on,
and that can be really hard. Like genuinely really hard sometimes. Hence why I love Pokemon and daft stuff like that because that is my release from another role, if you know what I mean. So long way of answering that question.
I think it's a very
good way though.
There's a lot he's coming from that.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
I think it's very interesting. I think it kind of brings me on to a slightly different question, I guess, is about how the roles that we play, how authentic they are to us, or how much work we have to put onto them. Like you were saying that it's easier to go and sit at the kids' table. It's easier to sit with the kids because you don't have that pressure of being an adult or whatever that looks like. So you're on about sort of taking your hat off at the end of the day, the work hat off and stuff like that. So does some of those kind of roles for you, are they more forced than others? And if so, which ones, and what does that kind of feel like?
Sorry, I'm hogging.
No, you might as well go around this way.
I am very well aware that we're all in a vocation. Yeah, I reckon Luke's job's a vocation. No, you two most definitely. Me, because of the nature of my job, it is vocational. And Luke was saying, I think I'm very different in the fact that role is 37.5 hours a week. Although it might seem difficult to take that hat off, I get paid to do that role. So for me, 37.5 hours a week, I'm putting on a show. After that, forget it. I find it quite easy, to be fair. I know that sounds a little bit contradictory to what I said, but it's a paid role. So when you're talking about is it forced? Yes, 100%. Like I enjoy my job.
Yeah.
If you pay me the same amount of money for not doing it, I'm going to take the same amount of money for not doing it. So I think that's kind of just a real honest answer for you. Yes, it's forced because I have to deal with it. But how do you find?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, that's why I waited.
Yeah.
So you can cut it later.
So I was asking about the roles that we play, how authentic and natural they feel to us, and how much maybe they're forced, or some roles you have to work harder at than others.
This is a tough one. I don't know if we've had a conversation about this before, whether obviously me and Mike play golf a lot together, and then hang out socially together quite a lot. There's times obviously that we're in the car and just chatting. I would say I struggle with most roles, and I don't know whether it's to do with the role that I'm playing, or whether it's to do with me and undiagnosed situations that potentially could be going on. I very much, the only role that I feel comfortable in, and this is going to feel so bad for saying, the only one I feel comfortable in is in this group. Or talking to Nathan on the phone, or my male friends, one that generally I feel very comfortable in. My next comfort is, I would probably say, would be Steve and Charlie, my wife and my son. And then after that, I feel like I really have to kind of work at stuff. My work, I've definitely got massive imposter syndrome. I really, although I get a lot of praise around what I'm doing, it's a very important role, and I'm very aware of that. And I think that's where the imposter syndrome comes from, because I'm very worried that I could mess up something quite serious, or do potentially not do something that could cause an issue. And then to transfer that over, so I get a massive amount of experience and massive, what's the words? Like I get a lot from that, and I'm able to transfer that into the kind of the real world that we all talk about. And over time, I've always been the joker, the idiot, the Luke's not got anything about him, and I feel over the last kind of 4 to 5 years, I've managed to kind of put the middle finger up to a lot of people and go, actually, well, this is what I'm doing. If you knew half of what I was doing, you wouldn't be saying that type of stuff. So I've been able to kind of change that role. So, and then when I say about the role models earlier, because I can look at from when I was 14, you boys know what I was like when I was 14 to when I was 19 to when I'm 25 to 35. I've got such a lot of experience, good or bad. I feel like I can project that onto I can project that as a role model quite easy, because of the way that my words don't always come out right.
Yeah.
We all know what I'm like sometimes. My words don't always come out right, back to front, upside down. I then have to really think about, what am I saying? How am I trying to say it? And this person, like we were saying about someone that has messaged me, this person's opening up to me here. What have I got to do that won't offend? Or that, how can I support this person? And going off topic a little bit, it's amazing that you've started with doing this first session with just men, being in September, because obviously it's National Suicide Month and Awareness Month, and we all know that men's suicide is at its highest, and will always be at its highest. I think it's, what is it, a ratio of 4 to 1 or something.
4 to 1, yeah.
And so actually I think you've timed it perfect in a way, for the first session being just men. But yeah, that's going off topic a little bit. Does that kind of answer your question, or is there any follow-up questions?
I think it does. I think it does. I think it's interesting, kind of going back to what you first said, how comfortable you are in this group, with us, and sort of over your life kind of playing or being seen as the idiot or whatever. Because I know obviously we give you a stick for lots of different things. It looks like you're like having a seizure, but like now. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So,
there you go.
And that just proves how well we know you as well, I guess. Like, we can pick those things up, and you're although we may take the mick out of you for having seizures or being.
It's not. Well, yeah, I was going to say, when you take the mickey, it's not you laughing at the fact that I'm epileptic. It's the way I see it anyway, is it's kind of a normalising the situation, so I'm not stressed.
Yeah.
About it. And we all know when I get stressed, my seizures get worse.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Like, I very rarely would take anything that you boys or anything would say
Seriously, that's nice.
Do you know what I mean? No, in all honesty. Nice to know.
Nice to know, yeah.
Kick him down.
I think it's something we don't ignore, your epilepsy kind of thing, and I think it's something that we, like, I think we've grown to know to wait and then just carry on as we were, and it's never a thing that.
I think because I'm a relatively new person in this group.
Well, yeah.
Like, although I say that, I mean it's probably been 5 years.
It's longer than that. So my wife was asking me this the other day, and I think we started playing golf about almost 10 years ago.
Feels like 50. But.
Yeah, as old as I am. Thanks.
So it's you are the newer one into the group.
Yeah.
But
So going back to your role model thing, sorry, and I will let you go in a minute, Rob.
But it's not counted.
I'm getting you're a teacher, great. But going back to your thing of role model, like I have always struggled getting into groups with new mates.
Yeah.
Especially blokes. I never get on with blokes. It's just the way it is. Like
we don't get on with you.
That's fine. You know, I've got on when it comes to sports, and I've got on with stuff like that, and I've had to get on at work. But I've always been easier with women, whereas this group is the one group. And you know, you're saying about roles. I think I can agree with you, Luke. To be fair, like this is where I can be my authentic self, and all right, we have a bit of banter. You take a piss, and I take a piss. You know, that's just the way it is. But
go on. No, I was gonna say, what's different about this group to other groups of men?
Just nice people.
Like genuinely just honest, nice people who have been open and raw. You know, you've never hid anything, Luke, like say your epilepsy, and you're one of the first ones to always reach out. Take note, Mike. No, you're one of the first ones to always reach out. Like I don't know what it is about you. You just have something that you go, okay, and you notice it, and then you reach out. You know, so it's for me as a outsider newbie coming in. It's it's an
environment
interesting.
We're happy to have you, mate.
Thanks. But I think kind of your question about what it is about this group of blokes. Well, it's the fact that it's you three. You know, it could not be another 3 different people. So
What about?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the question properly.
How authentic?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I'll be honest, I feel like I fake most things most of the time, I think. As like Fritz said, I'm a teacher, and that is an entirely job, which means kind of no matter what you're feeling, when you're at work during the day, it is put to one side no matter what, because there's 30 or even more people that their day depends on you. So like I like to train teachers up. I'm a mentor, and I try to have an honest conversation with every new teacher I get, saying my job is 90% winging it in a way, because like I know what I'm doing, I'm experienced, I know the subject and everything, like I understand the children's needs, but what's coming at every moment, I don't know what's coming, so I have to react and in a way hope what I'm doing is the right thing. And I mean, like I've been teaching like 10 years now, and it seems to be the right thing because I'm still in the job. But I feel like I have to put whoever Rob is to one side, and then I act for a day, even if I'm teaching what the subject is. I'm telling the children what the facts are, or teaching them what the skills are, and I don't really think that's me doing it. That's the teacher doing it. And sometimes that switching off I find so hard, to the point that sometimes when I get home, I've just switched off in all ways. Then sometimes I'm tired, or I'm needing that free space, or I'm probably snappy kind of thing, and then I think the next day having to switch back on. So when it's then the weekend, or especially the school holidays and things like that, I don't know what I'm doing, and I think. Well, we've had chats in the last year where I haven't felt mentally very well at all. So we've had chats in the last year, and honestly, they were chats I didn't want to have. I remember talking to my wife kind of not being like I don't want to go out, but when I was feeling really low, being like we went on holiday, was it last year I think, the three of us in the family went on holiday, and I know Luke, Mike, you asked me whilst we was away, like, what's wrong, you alright? And I just shut it off as quickly as I could, and no, I didn't give us I didn't shut things down. I know I didn't give a clear, I'm alright. It was obvious, like, well, not really. But when we then met up, and then you ask questions, and then being in that environment of just the most comfortable people in my life, kind of thing, it then just came out and it just flooded out. And I think within this last year, I've maybe then started learning maybe who I am, or what am I going to start doing to help me switch off. And I think that element of role, I think because my job is fake it for the better of the people around you, I then either don't know how to stop faking it, or I completely switch off, and then I sometimes feel like I work all day with children, and then I come home and I either feel like I'm still being a teacher, or I feel like that's when all my venting suddenly then coming out, and then I feel bad, and then I then don't know what I'm doing away, kind of thing. So I think, whatever the words were in your question, I can't remember what they were, but I think the idea of like who I am or what role am I doing, a lot of times I feel like I don't know. Sometimes I know I'm a good mate. Well, I'm a good mate anyway. I know I'm a good husband. I know I'm a good dad. I know I'm a good teacher, kind of thing. I think I'm a good son. I think I'm a good brother, good uncle. I know I'm good at those things, but I feel like juggling those things is hard. I don't quite know. I couldn't explain how I do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of those roles are hard, not necessarily hard work, but there's a lot of effort in doing those things, and not that it doesn't come naturally, but it sounds like you're almost kind of losing your own self in those roles, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think say like we kind of had said, like when we're in this environment, say like us four and that kind of thing, I switch off and I relax, and I've not realised, and then I'm there where I want to be, where I feel like I want to be, kind of thing. But I haven't realised that I've got there, kind of thing. And only having these relationships and I think that trust with each other to be me without thinking about it, or being me without having to pretend to be someone. That just happens because of like the support around. And like even I'd say with like my wife Sarah at home, she's someone that I know. It took me a long time to learn, because I never wanted to talk about things. I never wanted to open up. It was just kind of like, I'll get home and then later I'll forget about it, and then I feel fine. Whilst now I can go home and be like, something's getting to me, and it might take me 10 minutes to get it out. It might take me an hour to get it out, and it might be something over nothing. But having people around me who I know won't just shut me down, they will listen.
Can I just
really helps.
I'm sorry, right? I couldn't help that one.
Sorry, but that really helps me not have to think about who I am, and it just then comes, and then I feel comfortable, and then I feel happy and relaxed. But yeah, sometimes when there's pressure to switch off, like you were saying, like when you get home, sometimes you get home, sort out the kids, sort out dinner, and then you're like, right, okay, like now it's like 9:30. It's like, right, I want to relax, I want to chill, but work again tomorrow and get the kids up, and yes, juggling it.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
I don't think I envy the amount of roles you boys have, because again, you know, if you were to put a column of like, right, let's do a tick list of what roles you have, and then like a 4-bar column, you know, my ticks are only going halfway down the page. So I can't imagine what it's like in your heads. Yeah,
but I don't think that necessarily means like our ticks. You could say we could have more ticks, but your ticks could be bigger, kind of thing. Like the role you have, I'm not saying that role as yours as like a husband is more than mine, but
it takes up
that role could be bigger.
It takes up a bigger portion of my time, because I don't have the other role to fill it out.
Yeah, but what I mean is,
it's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah, just because you haven't got kids doesn't mean you are less in a way.
Oh no, and I think kind of as a role, like my, not forget the role thing, because that's the purpose of the session.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I've got comfortable, is that I've acknowledged my worth, and I know I'm worth.
Not a lot.
Sorry, I thought you were having a seizure, mate.
I was at one point and
That
I
was
realised
very
we're talking.
that needs to stay in. No, I've realised my worth. So I don't feel any less by not having those roles.
Yeah.
It just gives me free time to
Pokemon.
yeah, Pokemon. No, just to do the roles that I want, rather than
Yeah.
you know. And I find it interesting, sort of.
I think that's the only difference.
Yeah.
Like what you were saying there, we could have exactly the same amount of, let's say, the tick list
Yeah.
of different roles that we feel like we're taking on, and we feel like we have to present ourselves. The only difference between, let's say, us three and yourself are things that we feel we need to do and things that we don't need to do.
Yeah.
Is that the right way of saying it?
No,
Yeah, because
things we need to do and things we want to do. Is that
want to do, yeah, let's say. So where you might have more of, I want to do this, I want to do that. We can't get to the wants yet because there's things that we, in quote marks, feel that we need to do first.
Must.
Whether we should or not, and whether we should be doing more for ourselves, is a massive conversation that we have quite regularly. And again, it all comes down to, that's the pressure that we put on ourselves. But yeah, we feel that we should be doing first.
I think for me that, again, not having gone through being a parent and whatnot, but in exploring roles, I think the most important role for me is being myself.
Yeah.
And I think that gets overlooked. And I know it sounds a bit, what are we talking about? Yourself. That's a massive role. That self-care, that self-love, that no, I have a role to be me and to be true to me. And although I've got all these other roles and these hats and Mr. Ben, I go in the changing room and I'm this 10 different men, I think sometimes, and I you know, I'm going to be quite honest with you boys, I think around this table sometimes one or two of you will definitely forget that role, because there are so many other roles, and that's a really raw and might sound a little bit like, oh, you're judgy, but
No.
I kind of feel that it's the most important role that you need to think about as well.
I think that's the
I
one
think
that
just
I would
table
put
that
aside that you
Yeah.
more easy than anything else.
And
That's
that-
the one where I'm like, not least important, but everything else is more important, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so I
I
just,
would-
without
yeah,
thinking about it, Rob goes somewhere else a lot of the time.
I'd go along with Rob on that as well, to be fair, to say that I'm not, I don't always put myself last. My wife would probably listen to this and go, yeah, alright then, of course she does. Or of course she does, yeah, we know that, or however. But yeah, I look at things and think about ways that I can please other people kind of before myself. And then the things that I want to do, like my cycling, my golf and all sorts, I will fit round. But as the way to present myself, I'll go out to please them people first.
That's
Who end up-
self-love you said about Rich. That is something that...
So maybe sometimes, yes, I lose
Yeah.
what I should
You
be doing for
you
myself.
lose
sometimes.
that independent role of like, no, I am still a human.
Hmm.
And then I don't know, Mike. You're the expert, and I don't know if that's a role per se, but I would say it is. You know, because
I think you're right. I think it is the one that, like I say, I don't know what it's like for Sarah, my wife, but like the kids go above it. What I want to do for her goes above that for me. Only just figuring out now of who I want to be or how can I fit in. Like Luke, you say you do like your golf and your bucket. I think I'm worth it trying to find that stuff for myself, and I'm only just starting to do those things.
I think it's a question of balance and how much we. I don't know. I guess it's going to kind of come on to my next question anyway, about kind of the role of a man, right? Because I know obviously stereotypically, I guess, as men, you kind of have to look after your families. You're taught to look after your families, to work and to provide and all of that kind of stuff. I know lots of families are very different. Roles are flipped and stuff. But typically, as men, I think it's instilled in us to be that kind of provider, and I think maybe I'm talking from my own sort of personal experience as well, but you kind of feel like you have to do that, and you do put yourself back down the list because there's kids to think about, there's a wife to think about, there's a mortgage to pay, there's this, there's that, you know, employers to keep happy or whatever it is. It's always something, and I think finding that balance, and I think you're right, as we get older, and the clients I have who are older, who kind of seem to have that a little bit more worked out sometimes they really don't, but quite often talking to older men, you kind of see that really, they have that about them, that they know, they can't have it figured out, I think is what I'm trying to say. And I think that maybe is just a life experience thing.
Yeah, I think the older I'm getting, the more, or actually maybe more the older my kids are getting, the more I'm probably thinking like, right, okay, what have I got time for, or what do I want to do, or what do I want to achieve, kind of thing. I think I hold myself back enormously. And I don't always think that's for other people. Like, I think I've just always sometimes just not done things. Probably like out of insecurities and out of, like, I think I'm quite a confident guy, but I'm also a very nervous guy, a very shy guy. And when sometimes I say to people I've met, I'm like, oh yeah, I am quite nervous and shy. Like, I've had genuine people laugh in my face at that, and it's just kind of like, it's like, no, it's like, but that's again all just the facade, or there's sometimes the show that I'm putting on.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Because obviously you boys have got that role of parenthood and husband and whatnot. And I think it might lead into that question of the role of being a man.
Yep.
Do you find it difficult in how you project yourself in them roles to other people? Specifically, I'm thinking like the parenthood, the husband, you know.
I think it's a hard one to answer in a way, because I think, like I know my kids love me, so I don't find it hard to be a dad. It's more tiring to be a dad. But I think that's because I spend my entire day with other children as a teacher. So sometimes I get home and I'm like, I'm done with kids, but I still got to deal with my kids, and that's where my fuse is sometimes already burnt out, because I've had to not had it burn out at school, kind of thing. But then I think as like a husband, I think I'm quite a giving husband and that kind of thing. So I don't really feel pressure there in a way. Here, us four, there's no pressure there. I think a lot of my pressure comes from myself.
Yeah, I mirror that. No, yeah, I'm extremely lucky that my wife is amazing.
Wait, mine too.
Mine exists.
Yeah, mine too.
Mine exists.
I said it first, but blowing it out.
No, honestly, she has been, and there has been times where maybe I could have done more. As a father, let's say, and the man, the brackets, let's say what a man is. So she has kind of helped a lot with the way that I deal with things, the way I deal with my epilepsy and all sorts. When I then think about the way that I project my kind of family life or anything to people at work, I sometimes struggle with finding what I can say as a joke and what wouldn't be a joke. Around us, we all know kind of that fine line. We know that we've not really got a line between us all. We know what the truth is.
Yeah.
But when it then comes to work, it's finding that tough line. And then I think like you're going back to your question, Mike, around the man. Go and reword it again.
I can't remember exactly what I said, but it's about the role of being a man.
The role of being a man, that was it. My only struggle with the role of being a man, again, it comes down to the pedestal that I've put myself on, and probably the pedestal that I've put other people on. So I've got a great relationship with my dad, and I want me and my son to have the relationship that me and my dad's got. Not saying that I want to be my dad, I want to have that relationship.
That strong bond, yeah.
I then look at Rob and I obviously grew up together from birth, basically. So I look at your relationship between, or not your relationship between, but I look at Ray in your house and the way that he was presented. Very different to my dad, but still very strong. A still very strong role model as a man. Completely different to my dad, really.
Yeah.
So I've then got him on a pedestal as well.
Yeah.
I then look at my uncle. And I think, again, completely different. And I'm trying to pull all of the positives that I see from all these people and put them in me. But I don't ever stand back and go, but they haven't got 4 or 5 different positives between each one of them. They've only got that one person. And this is where I think you were saying, the older you get, it becomes life experience that you kind of understand that. Perfect that you brought up the question a minute ago. Well, you're 4 years older than us, 5 years older.
Yeah.
6.
And you've already understood that question and kind of come to terms with it in a way. Whether you've got it right or wrong doesn't matter.
I don't think there's a question of right or wrong. I think it's obviously experience, isn't it? Of like
hitting and hoping.
In my experience is this is how I'm far from having it figured out in life, and I'm sure that will be a very different conversation down the line. But with regards to how I want to be as a man and the role of a man, well, that's my definition. I love all you boys to pieces in this room, but I could not care less whether your definition of a man is different to mine. I respect yours definitions, but I'm comfortable with my version of man.
What is that?
What is that? I think taking sort of Luke's thing of
Don't steal my
pedestal.
makeup.
The pedestal. I mean,
No copying on the test.
You do not get this old and this wise by doing it all on your own. I think, there's only a few years between, but I think I haven't had as many male role models in my life. I'm very fortunate, my dad's still here, and I think, like any one of us sitting around this room, my dad's the best dad in the world, and he does everything right, in my eyes, you know. You could objectively look and go, that might be done a little bit better, but that's...
adoption.
Yeah. Cool. So my definition of a man, I look at my dad, and that is, he's not a gladiator. He's not but to me, he was a gladiator. If I could grow up and be half the bloke that he is, brilliant. The only other male role model I had is no longer with us, and I think that was a big hit, a massive hit, because I was lost for a very long time. So although, Luke, you're saying it's like I've got it figured out, mate, I bluff. I'm very good at knowing or looking like I know what I've got going well. But I think, the two men that I will look up to, they are the reason that I'm a version of who I am, and actually don't care. I know that sounds really arrogant, but I don't care. I think when you get that comfortable with your version of a man, well, I don't care. Well, you can take a piss at me because I play Pokemon Go and I don't drink 20 beers and I don't do this. Alright, cool. Well, that's your version of...
I don't think any of us are lads.
Male role. No, I think
or the stereotypical lad.
And I think that's why I found my spot. In our little crochet circle, it's wonderful. Luke, put them knee needles down.
That's the only reason, or one of the reasons why I keep running, is because I don't want Stephen to beat me in a race.
Yeah, he'll always look up to you.
I want to give up running, but I can't, because otherwise that means he's going to beat me in a race at some point, and I want it to hold on to that for as long as possible.
Yeah, agree. But I do think saying like you saying you've got people to look up to, and I obviously I've got like 2 days ago, I've got my dad and my stepdad, and they're both equal on the pedestal. Like I think it's not they can't do nothing wrong for me, but I think I so easily forgive them for no matter what. They're my dads. Like I love them to pieces, and yeah, they've both done wrong things, and yeah, I'm like that was too far, but I actually don't care. Like however long it's been, I don't care because they're my dad, and they're insanely important to me, both of them. But I look down on my 2 daughters, and I want them.
You shouldn't do that. You should respect them.
It means they're small.
What a terrible dad. Yes.
No, I want them, one, to grow up with a dad who is seen as forgiving in a way. Don't want my daughters to see me to be like fear-mongered in a way, and when they grow up I want them to be respectful and like following rules and not going out when they're 15, 16 and going mental. I want them to see me as someone they can go to, someone who will protect them and look after them. But I also, for like, say they're their future husband or something like that, I want them to be like, I don't want that selfish man, that child man, because I have heard about men growing up who not aren't bad dads, but I think are themselves first and their dad's last kind of thing. I want them to have a partner who will maybe support them like I support my wife. So I'm constantly thinking,
You're setting a bar for them, aren't you?
yeah, but I'm like, so like I think I'm a very snappy person. I do get angry quite quickly and upset in a way, and I do holler and bellow at them, and sometimes I have to be like, oh, that was too far. But I'm really trying to knuckle down and be like, I shouldn't have done that. So I'll shout at them, and then sometimes I go back to them, I sit down, look, I am really sorry, I shouldn't have gone that far, kind of thing. Because I want to set that bar high, so they know they're important, but also who they pick in the future will respect them and love them and do anything for them without them having to need to earn it. So I feel like I have to be someone that sets up their life.
Just to let you know, they're not allowed to get married.
That's fine. But like I'm not one of those dads that, well no I am, to be honest. I'm not one of those dads who's just like they can't have boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever way. I'm like that can't happen.
I say.
Proper but like I don't care about those things, but as long as they are safe and like loved and comfortable, and I feel like I do that for Sarah. I'll if I don't, then I would change wholly, so I do. But I want them to not have to think, oh, what is that? I want them to kind of be like, that person should be like that. And I know there's things I have to work on to change who I am to make sure they have that. But I hope, maybe is it like empathetic side of it? I hope me trying to understand who I can be for them will help them have a better life in the future, kind of thing. I don't think I see that as a burden. I definitely think I'm too snappy at them at times, and then I think if I can then show that I'm understanding of my actions and then change my actions or forgiving of their actions, kind of thing, then that will help them when they're older. But it is juggling that. And I do it wrong sometimes, without doubt.
It's quite nice to hear that, like you two and me, wait for Mike to chime in, but
we don't say much.
Not said
much.
much.
Judges.
It's judges. Yeah, we know your role.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's nice to hear that you none of you sort of bend to that conformity of this is how a man should be. You're choosing your own path with how a man should be. Going back to that, what is the role of a man? It's really refreshing because the line of work I'm in, if I was to sit here and have this conversation with them, the role of a man is completely different. The role of a man is the breadwinner, like you've said, you know, the breadwinner, you know, no, the wife stays at home and does this, I go out and earn the money and this is my role, you know, I'm the protector, I'm the hunter, I'm the...
man make fire.
Yeah, whereas, like my role and with my wife,
No, she's gonna listen.
We should probably explain.
She's gonna listen to this and be like, "Why do you keep putting emphasis on it?"
So I do have a wife. I've been happily married for
5 minutes.
9.5
And
years.
what's her name this month?
Her name is still Emma, and I absolutely adore her. And I'm very aware that that's a part of my life. I kick from everyone, and that's not a. I think because I.
Don't trust her. Oh no.
Honestly, you're so attractive, Luke. I'm worried she'd run away with you.
We're not.
I think the way you covet the role of a dad, and listening to the way you guys talk about being a dad, is the way I covet my wife.
Okay,
And that role of being a husband. That for me, I joke and I laugh, but she is my important thing in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we all say we would, you know, die for these people and we would kill for them. Like, genuinely, my wife is my ride or die. So it's not that I don't want people to meet her. It's just that that's a very private part of my life. I use anecdotes and I talk about her and I laugh and, you know, we joke that she's not real, but I'm very protective of that role.
She is your world.
She is. That role for me, I take being a husband incredibly serious. You know, I joke around, you know, this, that and the other, but that is the most important role for me as a man. The most important role, whether it be a wife or a husband, maybe, whether it be a wife or a husband, or whatever it wants to be, that in my eyes as a man is the most important thing. Protect my wife at all costs.
Yeah.
And I'm quite fortunate that in our dynamic, my role is not the breadwinner, is very much the polar opposite. You know, I am that 1950s housewife, which is amazing.
Looks after the dogs.
That explains your lovely 50s curls.
It really does. Yeah, thank you. They're ginger as well. Got nothing against ginger.
You bald?
Yeah, I'm bald. But yeah, I can't remember why I was going on that rant.
I think you're just talking about how like our like everything and your everything.
Yeah.
We ride or die for them.
Yeah.
No,
And I think I'm very aware that's probably the first time I've actually been that honest about my wife in front of 3 people ever that is outside of my
Let's
dad.
hope no one listens.
So, you know, look, hey, it's about time.
yeah. No, I do think I think as a husband, like being a parent is so important to my life. But being a husband as well, I'd like to think my wife thinks I listen and stuff like that. But yeah, I would literally do anything for her. But I think it's because I know not how much she does for me, because I don't need her to do much for me, kind of thing, but just how much she's there, and I just try and give that back in a way, and just protect it all the time.
Yeah, I think it's just an important part, isn't it? Like, you know, and I don't think it's a question that we can answer honestly. When I say honestly, I think you 3 would have a completely different answer if I was to say to you, what's your most important role in your life? Quizzical look.
Oh damn.
Yeah, good question.
Quizzical look. Always quizzical look from Luke. You know,
That's a hard one. That's such a hard one.
I can definitively say, because I haven't got a little person that, you know, don't get me wrong, my dogs are the most important things in my life.
Yeah.
If I'm going to save one from falling off a cliff, you know.
Yeah, I would answer that question
With a question?
with I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try really hard not to do that.
He's going to put an exclamation here. He's going to shout it out.
This is where he's got to take his hat off.
I'm not taking my hat off.
I would have blown.
I think
Fire it back.
I think it's
Point
not a wishy-washy answer, but I think the most important role that I play is being me, and that's going to sound really like a cop-out answer, but if I wasn't me, I wouldn't do the roles that I do. So I'm
See, I think the opposite is that. I think not being me means I do the roles that I do.
But if I wasn't, so I sort of going back, obviously, I'm a counsellor, therapist, whatever. But I know from my experience from early on, I remember always wanting to do that. And there's a reason why I've always wanted to do that, is because I find people fascinating, I find stories fascinating, and if I can help people along the way, then amazing. But I've always got that inquisitive kind of curious people. I've got that will to try and help people, and that comes from me. That doesn't come from the job that I do. I've had to have that to do that job, and that part of me to help I hope it makes me a good husband. I hope it makes me a good dad. I hope it makes me a good mate. I don't necessarily know all of those things, but that's my hope, right? So I think for me, that if I wasn't me, and I know, over my life I've had down times, I've been depressed or whatever. I can't remember where I'm going with that, but yeah, but all of that is me.
Yeah.
And all of that is experience, and all of that kind of makes me me, and I can impart that wisdom, if you can call it wisdom, onto Evie, my daughter, as she grows up. In that role of being a husband, that role of being a brother, a son, hopefully like a granddad one day. Do you know what I mean? All of that kind of stuff.
You can look like killer granddad with that beard.
Mate,
Yeah, I hope so.
Literally, all white and silver. He's gonna be
Silver fox. I don't know if that answers that question.
I think it circles back quite nicely to the most important role of you as a person is you as a person. I think that's quite nice, and again, that's making sure that person is still there.
I think in a way though, where like I said, I see it the complete opposite way to you, Blown. But I also see you as someone who obviously has grown and changed over time. But I think, say like the difference between maybe us, or maybe even, obviously not known for as far back as they look, but I think me and Luke haven't always figured out what we want to do since it's nearly 20 years that we know each other, kind of thing. I've always known you was going to be like a therapist, that kind of thing. Like you said, you had that person in you. So I think I see it in an opposite way, because I haven't known who I wanted to be. So who I need to be is just what has come about. So I didn't know. I didn't want to be a teacher. It was never a career path I was going to have. It probably won't be a career path for the rest of my life, kind of thing. It will stop at a point. But I then haven't got a clue what I'm going to do. And I have genuinely no idea. So then that makes me be like, I feel like I know-ish who I am now, because I'm going in a good phase in my life. But in the next bit, I'm going to be back to I ain't got a clue, and then hopefully don't know who I am. But it depends how I go.
I'll let you in on a secret, Rob. I'm nearly 40. I have had 3 different careers in 3 very different fields.
Luke's got his hand up.
He's going to be hand up in front of the teacher.
Put it down.
Again, I don't know if this is going off script. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
But for all of you, are you sometimes scared of the role that you should, could, would, need to be, etc.? The role that you're doing, you're sometimes scared. Because I can honestly say I do get scared at what I've got to, again, going back to the original question, how many roles, I'm trying to project a role model, and I sometimes get scared at, am I doing the right thing for Stephen? Am I doing the right thing for me? If something happens and I can't pay the mortgage, I'm then letting down the family. And what I overthink that projection. I can't deal with it and I can't control that, but I'm already scared of the role that I've got to do now, because if I don't do it now, something is going to happen.
Can I like put a little twist on that question? It's like, are you scared of that role of being a man? Because ultimately the roles you've described are the roles of the man.
Yeah, the stereotypical stuff, yeah.
And like, so are we scared of being a man, like that role?
And as I said, I can honestly say, and I know myself and Robin spoke this a couple of times at 2 o'clock in the morning, sitting in the car or whatever.
Yeah.
And
You not got a house as well?
as well, what do you mean?
Oh, there we go.
But yeah, no,
Self-aware joke, I like it.
I know we've had the chat before, and yeah, I can honestly say I'm scared or worried or have some form of negative pressure on me that if I don't succeed in what I'm doing now, where is that going to put Charlie and Stephen or me? Something that comes quite horribly with epilepsy is a lot of depression. It's something that we've all dealt with, and it's something that men all deal with. And we are very lucky that we've got a good group around us.
And medication.
Yeah. For me anyway. That kind of can talk about it, but ultimately there's some people that can't. So yeah, is there anything that you're scared about within your role of the man?
I mean, I'll let you guys answer.
I mean, mine. I wouldn't say necessarily mine say scared about being a man, but just adulting. Like I already feel like I no idea what to do, so I just don't. I've always been one that's kind of been like, I'm not really sure, so I'm just going to put it off and just not really do anything about it. And thank God I got a wife now, because she does do something about it, and that makes me do things in my life where I think if it was just me on my own, I would probably just sit in a room and I'd be like, oh, there's nice things to do in the world, but I'm just not going to go do them.
Men paying badly.
Yeah, like just... but I've always really been annoyed at myself about not being able to like I have a big thing, like I hate research. I cannot sit down and look at things. Like say like recently we're looking at holiday together. You guys are looking at flights and sorting out this and that, and I'm literally looking like, oh, there's 10 messages there. I don't really want to look at them because I just don't want to. Like I don't know how to be involved, and I don't want to be involved because I just don't know how to, and it's just like a vicious circle. So I think there's so many things where I'm like I said, I don't want to be a teacher forever. I adore the job. No idea what the next one is. Am I going to put any thinking into what it's going to be? Absolutely hell no, because I'm absolutely terrified of what I need to do. I don't know how to do it, and just what is going to be kind of thing. Like I could easily see myself in the next 30 years being the exact same situation, because I am terrified of not knowing what to do, and I had no idea how to figure it out. Absolutely no idea to figure it out.
But as a man, you should.
But I've got the people around me, they will be able to figure out what to do, and I'll happily join on the ride kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like I have to suss things out, and I have no idea how to, so I won't.
Hat off.
Hat off. Hat off. It's hard to answer that with the hat.
Maybe that's
because
what the podcast should have been called.
Hats
Hat
off.
off.
Hats off.
Just the episode name.
Maybe. I think
That'd be episode 4.
for me, I don't think anything kind of scares me.
Boo. Sorry.
about the roles. I think, but I also think being a therapist helps that, because kind of what you deal with day in, day out with different clients, you know that life is chaotic, and you've got to almost embrace that chaos for me. And I think nothing particularly scares me in the roles that I play, because I have to back myself. I have to trust myself to deliver the best version of whatever that role is that I can. Quite often, when I talk about parenting with clients, giving certain suggestions or not necessarily advice, but sort of guidance, I guess, of how to parent or how to manage children and stuff. And I quite often say to some of those parents, my own kind of 2 pence on it is that I know that I'm going to say something one day that will mess Evie up. I know that for a fact, because I can guarantee each of us here have sat here and can think of one thing that a parent has said to us that has stuck with us. I know I've got something from my parents that has always stuck with me, a saying, or something's happened and they've said something, and I see that day in, day out as well with everyone that I talk to, and kids and adults. And I know that I'm going to do that with Evie, and I know that whatever that may be, I need to be accountable for that. I need to take ownership of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why nothing necessarily scares me within those roles, because whatever happens, I've got to own what I can own, and I've got to trust in that and kind of almost embrace the chaos and then trust my reactions to whatever happens. I don't know if that answers your question or if that makes any sense.
Yeah, come on to you and then put your hat on.
Yeah.
And what's the response with your hat on?
No, I think that was quite a nice response. I think there is a level of being scared of something, but it's accepting that that's going to
it's
happen.
acceptance.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference of like.
You have the tools and you've learned the tools to deal with it.
Yeah, you've
that's probably the difference. Yeah, and I
you're a better person than us.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I mean, we all knew that before this started.
But like going back to like, I know you guys have spoken about your dads and stuff. For me, my dad, so like again one of those things that kind of stick with you. You know, my dad. I remember my dad saying to me, learn from everyone else's experience, or learn from everyone else's mistakes, because you're not going to get to make all your mistakes yourself. And it's stuff like that, those kind of little nuggets that have always kind of stuck with me, that has, I guess is again the reason why I do the job that I do, is because I not only try and help people, but I learn from those people as well. I learn from, okay, this person's gone through this, how did they deal with that? Oh, that might be a good way for me to deal with it if I ever come across that thing. And you know, look at, okay, take the example of the loss of my mum, right? Again, serious. But like losing my mum, you know, 2 years ago, it was obviously devastating. But for me, not that I feel like I've accepted it and I'm over that grief, because I'm not, but having dealt with grief with people in the room, being clients and stuff, you learn different things from them. You learn, okay, this person deals with grief that way. Does that work for me? Maybe a little bit. I can take that piece from them. Like you was talking about, you know, your dad, the male role models, and you were talking about, you're the male role models about, I'm going to take that bit from them, take that bit from them, and make that. And that's kind of how I work as a man, as me. That okay, that bit from that person's really good. Or maybe I can try and do that. If it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. But
so you think it's quite good that I've taken nothing from Rich?
I'll be honest, you think that's funny? No one takes anything from me.
No, I'm joking.
No, I think we all see people. There's all people in our life who you're kind of like, well, I know what they're doing is not right, or I know I wouldn't do that. So I imagine having that like gateway into that view of people kind of thing is eye-opening in a way, kind of thing.
And another role model I'm going to throw into the account that maybe...
Nothing scares me, by the way.
No, that's fine.
No, carry on.
We know you did.
Wait.
No, go on.
No, you guys, I don't want to offend.
No, mate, I'm
Cry me a river.
too old to get offended. But to answer your question, no, I do not fear any of my roles.
What about snakes?
Do I get it right? Absolutely not. Am I happy with how I deal with situations? Absolutely not, most of the time.
But you wouldn't
I can't change it. You know, it's a bit from like what Mike was saying. You learn. I got to where I am in life by just being brave and accepting. Like I've just got to a point in my life, I think, where I've accepted all of my roles. Do I like them all? Maybe not. Can I change them if I want to? You know, and I think just that the general accepting, isn't it? Of, you know, I may not have all my shit together. I've come to terms with it. You know, I've seen the worst of people. In my job, I see the worst of people. I've seen the people go through the worst. I've been through the worst. I wanted to drive my car through a brick wall. You know, I've been at the lowest. You know, I've had to stop certain aspects of my life because it was hurting me. That role that I played then, 7-10 years ago, completely different to the role I'm playing now. Did it scare me then? Absolutely. I was shit in it. Am I scared now? No, I'm done. Like, I've got to a comfortable role in my life where this role is Richard, the doting husband behind closed doors to his actual real wife, and everything else is kind of secondary. So I'm not. I think because the other roles are secondary, I'm not scared of it.
Yeah.
If that answers your question, mate.
Yeah, makes sense.
Sorry.
So another role that I would say that I hold as a man is now in my family, because my mum and dad are split up. When there's just the girls together, let's say in particular the sisters and myself, so I've got 4 sisters and myself as a male.
Just to emphasise the
questionable.
Just a question.
Luke is a man.
Luke was trying to work out then.
1, 2, 3.
Just reassuring himself.
Yeah.
I'd say there is that role model, so I've got to look out for them, especially with certain aspects of life that's happened in the recent times.
Say like relationships
And all sorts. I've got to look out for them, their private life, their me being an uncle and supporting them as my nephew and nieces as such, but ultimately looking out for them, because potentially my mum and dad, their roles aren't looking at that opportunity, but I almost feel that sometimes I've got to support them, and it comes across. They always say it. Oh yeah, Luke will be honest, Luke will be horrible or whatever. And I don't ever mean to be horrible. Often it's I'm telling the truth, and it's
You are the
sometimes
definition
the
of
truth
blood.
will hurt.
I actually hold the exact same role in my family, because if I don't want to do something, or if I need to have that
Honest conversation.
just to say how it is, I am that person in my family, so it's quite nice to hear someone else say that they have that role, because sometimes you don't feel isolated, but you can feel
I
isolated.
think sometimes
because you
people
are
get a blurred vision of the way that they think a situation has happened, and it takes an outsider to see, you know what, that's not right.
No.
What you said to mum was wrong. What you dealt with, that family situation, that work situation was wrong. That car accident or so. But the way that they present it is, oh yeah, I was right and all sorts. And sometimes people just go along with it. And I've come to the conclusion that, you know what, no, you need to be told here that that's not right. And I often get kind of pegged down, and oh yeah, I have to look out for them. I feel that I have to look out for the honesty of what comes with that, whether they like it or not. And obviously by the sound of it, you do.
Yeah, and I think mine's always, I think because of the nature of how I was growing up, if again, you might need to bleep this out, but if shit needed handling, like there was an issue in the family or someone needed to do something that they didn't want to do, I was the one that people would go to. And you know, if there was a situation with, say, my sisters and a fella, Rich will sort it out. You know, there'd be that.
You'd be the confrontational.
The enforcer, you know, which is fine. It is what it is, and whether that be a physical enforcer or a verbal enforcer, you know, you're that one that goes, no, this is the yard, this is the measure, that's it. Like, you know, you're right, wrong, yeah, pretty much, like a gunslinger, you know, like that kind of that role, and just being, it's not a popular role, you know. You can upset people. My question to you is, are you comfortable with that role, Luke?
Well, let's go around first.
Yeah, go on.
See, I don't think that I'm that at all. I think I am someone that will not keep the peace. Because I think I will say what I need to say. But that's definitely come of age. I would have been someone that just stayed away from confrontation as much as I could, no matter what. Like, if there's an argument going on, I'll be the person to say, you have it, I'm going somewhere else. But I think I'm more of the person now who will kind of, or I hope anyway, would be the person that would keep people together. It will kind of be like, you're annoyed and I understand why, and I will listen. You're annoyed, I understand why, I'll listen. And try to be that I don't know, not the bridge between, but just the person that doesn't cast aside in a way. I think I'm quite good at understanding other people's emotions. Not if I might not always understand why, or might not be able to say, or maybe you should deal with it this way. But yeah, I'm not that person, and I think I've always been told in my life that I'm quite camp and I'm quite not crazy manly kind of thing, and I think in that aspect my role is to care for people in a way. Not that I'm saying you don't care for people when you're telling them the truth kind of thing, because that is why you're telling them the truth kind of thing. But I think mine will try to be I don't know how to explain it, be there in a way. But I feel like that's not what I'm trying to say, because you're trying to be there for people. It's just... Yeah,
again, I feel, so stop me here.
Stop.
Because we've...
Anger.
Because we've grown up literally together, there's a lot we
years
understand about. From what I've seen is, yes, I agree with a lot of that, but you don't make... because you don't like confrontation, you often take the winning side. What's the side that's not going to cause you the most issues? Whether it be friends, family, work, whatever, from what you say stuff, and it's often what's not going to cause you an issue rather than if it's right or wrong.
I get that. I think I'm known as just someone that just gets on with everyone. And
affable, almost.
Well, I don't know. I think I don't have confrontation kind of thing. I think people. I think there's a lot of people out there who generally don't think I just don't get angry, and it's...
You're Switzerland, baby. Like, you're just that neutral kind of... You don't want the disharmony. You don't. I
just don't feel the need for it all the time, kind of thing. I'm like, I just think there's so many reasons to be around people that sometimes the way people bite at people is just unnecessary. And
I'm not talking about anger as such, or
no, but that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying, well, you're like truthful, you're not angry in it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there are so many people out there that are, and I'm just not.
Yeah.
Well, I get angry with myself. I don't really get angry with others.
Do you feel sometimes you're non-confrontational side, likewise yourself, Mike, 'cause I think you fall under this, sometimes causes you, what's the word?
Splinters?
Sometimes causes it, you're holding all that in.
Yeah.
There's stuff that you're never saying, and you never say to G or any of us, and you all just deal with it. You try and deal with it yourself. That's just like a pebble. You're basically constantly putting a pebble on top of each other, and sometimes it's gonna fall.
Yeah.
Do you not ever worry about that?
Well, I think that's kind of what's happened to me like last year, kind of thing. I think I just put so many pebbles on that everything was just falling, and then no idea to how to cope with anything at all. So yeah, absolutely. There's so many things in the past I wanted to say to people, so many things right now I'd happily say to people. How many of those things would I say? I don't know. I am becoming more, I'll say what I think, but I won't always go find that occasion to say it. If the occasion comes to me, I'll be like, right, okay, cards on the table, I'll tell you now.
You'll say your honesty, but only
So
at the situation.
Yeah, I won't say, I don't think I'll say my honesty because I don't want the other person to be put down in a way, kind of thing. I'll probably put myself down, holding it in, more than I'd drag the other person down.
Mr. Blown.
Hello.
He's entered the room.
Hats off.
Yeah, as you said, I'm not that kind of person really, and I'd like to say I try to be honest when I can, but often I'm the person who I am the counsellor, and I am the listener, and I do try and diffuse people or be empathetic or provide a different point of view, or essentially I am the fence. I like playing devil's advocate. Not that I like that, I'm also good at that, and that is what I do as I do for a job. I find it very hard to do.
Play the devil.
Yeah, but it is one like going back to that role of being me. I am like that naturally, which is why I like to think I'm good at what I do. So to take that out of my
4.5 on TripAdvisor.
And you said about like the pebble stacking. Sometimes that does get heavy, but that's why I have a therapist, and that's why I have supervision, because I'm able to unload that stuff to a neutral person if I do feel like that gets quite heavy for myself. Like I know that I talk to my therapist about conversations that me and G have had, and maybe said some things to her that maybe I should have said to G at the time, that the moment's gone or whatever, and then she provides that other perspective for me, because I'm not always able to, when you're in those situations yourself, you're not always able to be that devil's advocate, and I know G gets pissed off with me because I am the counsellor sometimes in conversations, or
you know what I mean? Just be Michael.
Yeah, honestly, like it does get like that sometimes, but it's hard. It's hard to switch off because you're trying to be objective and not in the moment. Like it's a hard role to play.
I have a question, and I think don't feel pressed to answer it. Maybe just have a think about it, because again, like I say, I'm new into.
So that's not good for a podcast, mate.
Don't answer it. No. It's one of those that actually I've thought about this question, because when Mike asked us to come onto this, and I kind of was like, well, what's my role in this group? And actually, I kind of have you all pegged in a certain role, and I'd happily share that with you. I think.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. We're going to wrap it up soon as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke is the honest way. If I want, if I want an answer of like, was this dickish? He's going to give the answer, yes or no. Mike is the one that's going to be like, talk me through a scenario. You're the one that talks me down from losing my tiny little mind sometimes.
Putting my hair
not
out.
from put my hair out.
ginger
And-
girls.
And Rob's kind of like my fun. Not that I don't enjoy time with you guys, but like I genuinely love just. Rob is my fun time. Rob is me. He's the uncle in the group. You know, so yeah, have a think about it. I think.
But that I think I'm tend to be that in life.
Yeah, and
I think I will just try to.
Yeah.
I say so many things and like people laugh in a way, and I'm like, oh, that was funny, and I know that there's no thought there. I just say something, but I think there's also sometimes I say something people just kind of go, oh, and it's bashful.
To give you some flowers, you are fulfilling your role.
Yay. But like I said right at the beginning, like 90% just winging it.
It's fine.
But yeah.
So we're gonna wrap up as a first episode, maybe, unless you guys don't want to come back. Then fair enough.
I'll come back.
This could be a one-off.
I might be.
It'd be good because I've got loads more questions, loads more things to talk about if and when.
And we've got to learn
This is a new game
Angel
tonight.
Diet.
And we've got to learn Angel to learn. So as a final question to you all, when we go around, I want you to ask or say one thing that you've learned about yourself from this conversation, if anything.
You don't have to pick your hand up, Luke. You just. Does it have to be about us or can we?
I wouldn't say necessarily about, maybe not about me, but about all of us. But say like kind of what Rich just said. But I think we all have a role in this group, and we all know who we are, and it is based off just of who we are. We aren't. None of us are fakers. None of us are pretending. We all are all here for each other. And I don't know about a lot of other men because I only really know about the men in my circle.
Your men.
My men, yeah. But we support each other because we listen to each other and we're there for each other and we talk about things. So I think a lot of men, we have all been depressed at times. We all have all been critically low in our mental health. But we have all had people there, not necessarily to talk about things, but just always present, in the future going to see each other not too soon. And it makes, I know that listening to us all talk about our parents or our relationships, who we are as people is for really good people. And it just makes me feel really good about our group.
So, yeah, I said something earlier that I've never actually said out loud as such, and that's what I've learned. So when I was saying about, I take a bit of my dad, my uncle, Rob's dad, who, do you know what I mean, an ex-boss or whatever, and I take the bits that or take them as role models and put them on a wall in a frame, let's say, in my head, and I've never taken into the account of all the negatives that they've had. I've only ever just looked at the positives. And more importantly, I'm trying to be all of the positives that they have got, not understanding that they've gone through a long process to get there. So yeah, I think I've learned that as much as I'm doing that, I am going to get it wrong just like they got it wrong at some point.
But you're doing alright as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys!
I mean, you're average.
Mike's perfect.
Mike is amazing. I think because we're sat in his room.
Yeah.
And he fed us. So. No, I think what I've learned is that I am accepted. And
We'll see.
Still keep friend zone.
That's just your perspective.
Yeah. Wow.
A few more years.
And
You might tell the truth, can't you?
Mike knows I've struggled significantly with that, like being accepted in certain aspects of life, and it's just nice to be accepted in one, irregardless of whatever's happened.
So I do find that hard to believe. I can't believe that.
What, that I don't?
That you wouldn't be accepted. Like say you knew these two first, and then I knew you, but this doesn't feel like a four-piece where you would ever have not been accepted kind of thing. I struggle to believe that you would find it hard to fit in anywhere.
Yeah, and I know we're wrapping up and I think we can carry on another day.
Sorry.
But yeah, I've never felt accepted. So the learning thing for me, and I think I'll happily openly talk that another episode. But I think that's the one thing is I'm happy now. I can go home with a smile, listening to my music, and be happy rather than like that arduous like did I do the wrong accent today? You know, am I gonna get an invite back? Yeah. So it's just nice to be accepted. And I think that's what I've learned is I have a role in this group.
Yeah, man, you do. Without doubt. What about you, Blum?
What about me? What have I learned about myself?
You're a good listener.
Sorry, yeah.
You're a good listener.
Sorry, what?
That's what it is.
That's even solid death jokes.
What?
Anyway, back to the
Sorry, yeah, Blum. About you.
What have I learned about myself? I learned that maybe I need to try and take the counsellor hat off a little bit more sometimes. Even sat here listening to you guys, and I've loved it. But yeah, what's up?
Sorry, I'm waving my hand. You saying that over the last 3 years, you have massively improved that. 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, you never really took it off, never really opened up, always wanted everything from everyone else. But 3 to 4 years, you've done the complete opposite, and you've massively improved.
Yeah.
But I can understand with why you're saying that.
Yeah, I know I need to do it more. I don't know if this is necessarily the right platform just yet. Maybe it'll grow in time. I don't know. But I'd like to open up more.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, we'll watch this space. But I do enjoy the conversation. I do enjoy listening to you guys, and like I said earlier, I learn a lot from each of you. And I would love to be a little bit more of each of you in certain ways. I'm not going to tell you just yet because we're wrapping up. So
come back.
So to be continued. But yeah, no, thank you everyone for this. It's been really, really nice.
It's been lovely. Thank you.
Lovely, lads.
Would you like to come back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. I might feed you again.
I'll let you know. My agent will be.
So that was the first episode of Between the Roles. I want to thank again Rich, Luke and Rob for joining me for that chat. I think it's a real good insight into some of our own perspectives of the roles we play, and some of our own sort of insights into our friendship as well. I think it's a really, really great chat. Hopefully you enjoyed listening, and catch us again next time for the next episode.